It's Monday, July 23rd. Welcome to Pastor Bob Daily. The number one question from my last podcast had nothing to do with the content of my podcast. Everybody wanted to know what that is cooking behind me. Honestly, it's called Hippocrates soup. It's, hundreds and hundreds of years old, the recipe. You want to know what's in it? Potatoes, celery, onions, leeks, tomatoes, garlic, parsley. That's it. I eat it every day. It's the beginning of my meals, and very, very good for you. If you want the recipe, let me know. Okay. Well, I got an interesting comment on one of my videos last week, and he says this: I've been there. I've traveled with an evangelist and played guitar in a band in many churches, one major church. I pretty much wrote my ticket to play anywhere. I get frustrated when churches take me for granted doing it voluntarily. I think churches should somehow, depending on the size of the church, give back to band members, whether it's monetarily, gift certificates, or however creatively they can. I get frustrated taking time to practice, gas, giving my time and talents and my tithe. Well, I understand this kind of feeling because a lot of people have it. Some churches are really good at taking advantage of people in ministry. And when you feel taken advantage of, you want something in return. I understand that. But let me take this to another level. And by the way, this isn't a criticism of what was being written here. I think what he wrote was very honest, and I appreciate it very much. But I want to talk about me for just a second. Let's talk about me. It's important to have the right kinds of motives, and it's difficult to do it. Many, many years ago, I decided to not take a whole lot of money from the ministry. All of my years of sanctuary, I never had a salary. I never wanted one. I didn't want that to get in the way of my ministry. And people criticize for the way you spend the money when you're a pastor in church. I never wanted to have that. And I always liked sports cars. And I remember one time somebody commenting on my car that was parked there and said, "Oh, there's our tithe money." And I walked up to him and said, I made all that money myself. You don't pay me a dime to pastor here. And he was a little embarrassed. But that is the feeling. And I just have never wanted to live under a microscope, so I have not done that. I've always made my money on the side in some way. And I live very simply. And that's me. But I realize that for me, all of these decades now that I've done that, it's been really good. Because it's really forced me to depend on the Lord. And quite honestly, whenever I start running out of money, I get on my knees and ask the Lord what I'm doing wrong. What kind of decisions I'm making that maybe aren't the best, and possibly that I'm on the wrong track. Because He's really proven after all of these years that He takes care of me. Now, let me say that not everyone is called to do what I'm doing, to live the way that I live. But the principle is still there. All of us have the opportunity to be involved in evangelism and in the body of Christ. And our hearts need to be there also. When a church begins to function as an institution instead of the body of Christ, then we have people who feel this way, legitimately. They see all the money coming in, they see people spending it, they see the pastor living well, they see all of these things that are done with the money, and they begin to say, it's not fair that they should have this and I shouldn't have this. Now, I'm not against pastors making a salary, please don't get me wrong. But, I understand the mentality of a congregation that's very money oriented and grows bigger and bigger and spends money on a lot of things that maybe aren't necessary and still taking advantage of the people there. You know, when we get together in an atmosphere of love and camaraderie, when we function as the body of Christ, honestly as the body of Christ, when we feel that kind of spirit together, money never becomes an issue. The only time it's an issue is when we don't feel appreciated and we don't feel connected. And I hope that you feel connected today. If you're a pastor, if you're a person on the worship team, if you're somebody in the church who's kind of questioning where the money's going, all of those things, I hope you feel connected, and I hope you'll take these words to heart. God bless you. Have a great day.